The Army just released a short new recruitment ad, and Libs of TikTok posted this along with it's got a stark comparison where you've got an old Army recruitment ad, and when I say an old ad, I mean one from a few years ago that we've played before on this show, and then the new one, which was just released. I think the Army just put it out a couple of days ago. So we'll play them both. First, here's the old woke one, and then we'll do the new one. But let's play the old one.
Although I had a fairly typical childhood, took ballet, played violin, I also marched for equality. I like to think I've been defending freedom from an early age. When I was 6 years old, one of my moms had an accident that left her paralyzed. Doctors said she might never walk again. But she tapped into my family's pride to get back on her feet, eventually standing at the altar to marry my other mom. With such powerful role models, I finished high school at the top of my class, and then attended UC Davis, where I joined a sorority full of other strong women. But as graduation approached, I began feeling like I'd been handed so much in life, a sorority girl stereotype. Sure, I'd spent my life around inspiring women.
I think we've seen enough of that to get the point.
But what had I really achieved on my own?
So that's the ad that was put out a few years ago. And then just for comparison, here is the ad, very short ad that the Army just released recently.
Stronger people are harder to kill.
There you go. That's a 15-second ad that consists of a dude lifting heavy stuff and then saying stronger people are harder to kill. So it's the simplest ad imaginable, and it's also easily the best Army recruitment ad in 20 years, right? Which says less about this ad and more about how bad the other ads were. Because I don't think anybody would look at that ad and say, well, that's a marketing genius. It's the greatest ad anyone's ever seen. It's not that. It's just the strategy for military recruitment has been so bad for so long that that stands out. And in the comparison of the two, you see, in essence, the two possible strategies for appealing to potential recruits. And one is to tell them that the military is a place where, small, petite women can follow their dreams and make their lesbian moms proud. That's one strategy. And it's a strategy that the military has been using for a while. The other is to tell them that the Army is a place for strong, badass dudes who want to kill the bad guys. Those are the two pitches boiled down. And the first pitch will attract precisely none of the kinds of people that you need for a strong military. The second will attract those kinds of people. And this has been the fundamental problem with military recruitment for a long time. And the reason for the recruitment crisis, a crisis that seems to be turning around very recently. Do you wish you could have invested in the stock market last year when investors scored the highest profits in decades, but between your mountain of bills and credit card debt, you had nothing left over? Well, it's time to stop letting debt hold you back. Let me tell you about Done with Debt and how they can help you. They have a brilliant new strategy designed to tackle your debt and put cash back in your pocket so you can save, invest, and build the life you've been wanting. Done with Debt negotiates directly with credit card and loan companies. Their team of negotiators and legal experts work to significantly reduce your bills, eliminate interest, and erase penalties. This frees up cash to invest while the stock market is strong. Done with Debt helps transform financial burden into opportunity. But since these strategies are time-sensitive, don't delay. Start building the life you deserve. Visit donewithdebt.com and talk with one of their strategists. It's free. Go to donewithdebt.com. That's donewithdebt.com. A big part of what drove the crisis for as long as it was happening is that the military, or at least the people who design these recruitment ads, have been embarrassed of the military, essentially. It's like the military is embarrassed of itself, embarrassed to talk about what the military actually is, which is an institution for tough men who want to defend their homeland and kill our nation's enemies. And once an institution becomes embarrassed of itself, it starts to collapse and die. We've seen this. We've seen many other examples of this across the West. We've seen this in churches. You've got many churches in Western society who are embarrassed to admit that they are churches. And so they wither and die. They try to present themselves like something other than a church. And you see this from the way that the church services are conducted. You see this from the way the buildings are built now. You could drive by a church these days, especially one of these mega churches, and you would have no idea from the outside that it's even a church. Like it could look like a stadium or an arena or, a mall or something. And then you go in and you still might not be able to figure out. You could look at the church from the outside and then go in and sit through a service and still at the end of it be unsure if that was even a church. And the churches that do this end up dying because they don't attract people who actually want to go to a church. And those are the only people who can keep a church alive. Same thing with the military. If you're not bringing in the kinds of people who are interested in the military, not just interested in following their dreams and, becoming a better version of themselves, like this is some sort of self-help seminar, but actually they want to be in the military. They want to do what the military does. If you don't bring those kinds of people in, then the institution dies. And I think this short ad is an early indication that this might be turning around. I mean, not to belabor the point too much, but, and I was thinking about this, and I don't know the answer to this, but I'd be very interested if there was any way to find out. Maybe this would be a legitimate use of like Chat GPT. I don't know. When was the last time the word kill was used in a military recruitment ad? Think about that. He says stronger people are harder to kill. And in this case, he's not saying kill the enemies, but he's talking about avoiding being killed yourself. But he's acknowledging killing, right? It's an acknowledgement in the ad that killing is involved in the military. When's the last time that any branch of the military put out an ad that had the word kill in it? I would guess it's been, I mean, this is something that goes back a lot farther than the Biden administration. It's probably been decades. And I actually did try to check, and I didn't spend a lot of time on it, but I couldn't find a single instance this century of a U.S. military recruitment ad that used the word kill. Now, I did find military recruitment ads in other countries like China that did, but not here. Even though, and what's the significance of that? Well, obviously, it's that killing is the essential function of the military. The military is a killing machine, or at least it's supposed to be. That is the job of the military. Everything that the military does should have the ultimate end of more efficiently and effectively killing the enemy. That's what all of it is designed for. And yet, for so long, the recruitment strategy was to not acknowledge this. Just pretend that that killing isn't even part of the equation at all. And then again, what happens? Well, you don't end up attracting the kinds of men who, young men, who actually want to go out and kill the bad guys. But for as long as militaries for as long as there's been human civilization, you need young men like that. They're the ones who defend, your civilization, and you need to be able to go out and appeal to them. So, I do think this is a significant step. If you'd like to see what else I have to say, you can access my full show by going to dailywire.com or by going to the Matt Walsh Show Twitter page. Hope to see you there. Godspeed.